will be relevant or hopefully helpful to all our participants today. Right, so thank you again for joining us, and a very warm welcome to our three speakers here today. Really appreciate the time taken for you to join us to share your thoughts on the topic today. As a request from our speakers, I will just briefly introduce LittleLives. So we are a school management system. We're currently operating in 9 countries across Asia, and we have about 1,000 schools using us. So our company's goal is really to make an impact on every aspect of schools, right? So when I say this, we help them in terms of operations, administrative work, to communication with parents. So we are covering the whole spectrum of the school in that sense. And because of our diverse pool of clients, we have been fortunate enough to have access to information. And really, this brings me to introduce today's topic, which is, COVID-19, back to school, are you ready? So let everyone joining us this morning know, we will shortly start off. So now we will introduce our panelists, and then we will talk about the 3 themes, which are how to build a mindset to operate virtual schools, the new norm for the industry, and with so many tips, tools, and resources available, which one really works? So we want to know from the 3 speakers that we have here, right? Now, to help us run this webinar smoothly, we encourage our participants to type in your questions as and when during the session, and I will bring it up to the respective speakers, okay? Instead of you talking, so that we can actually track your questions better. All okay, speakers?
Yep.
Great. Now, to our friends just joining us or who have been with us since 9:30, thank you for joining us. It was meant for a small talk session to really warm up with our speakers, right? So take note that your videos and audios are automatically muted, and we highly advise you to stay that way so that all of us can enjoy the webinar discussion efficiently and effectively. So you can also enjoy the show without much disturbance. All right, so without further ado, let me formally introduce our 3 speakers today. Firstly, we have Puan Rozita, or whom she wants to refer as Umi Rozita. So Umi Rozita is the director of Murni Childcare and Education since 1990. She's also the president of the Kindergarten Educator Association in Malaysia, as well as the president for Educators Association in Negeri Sembilan. She currently holds a master's in early childhood education and is currently studying for her PhD in Uni Razak. So a few words, Puan Rozita, Umi Rozita.
Yeah, good morning. Assalamualaikum. Thank you, Brian, and all the team. I'm so proud to be invited here today. And I'm here just to share my experience regarding this war. We are at war now. To how to manage our life, in this new norms, the VUCA world. So I'm so happy to have all of you here. Hopefully we can bring something, not to change everything, but something good to our children. Inshallah.
Great. All right, thank you. Next, we have Miss Rachel Chill, who is the co-founder of Kiddy123.com. So Kiddy123.com is, in case people are unaware, is Malaysia's early childhood directory to provide Malaysian parents with an extensive directory of children-related businesses and service providers, parenting tips and guides. Rachel, to add on?
Ian, and thank you LittleLives for inviting me to become one of the speakers today. So my name is Rachel, and I am the co-founder of Kiddy123. So maybe for those of you who are not familiar with Kiddy123, let me briefly tell you who we are and what we do. So like Brian said just now, Kiddy123.com is an online early childhood directory in Malaysia. So we have been around for 7 years. So the reason we built this website is to help parents to find the right preschools and the most suitable enrichment classes for their children. So, being a parent myself, I know that when we are looking for classes or school for our kids, right, we don't just look at location and fees, but we want to know like a whole lot more information, like what's the school environment look like, who's the principal, are the teachers qualified, what kind of program, and most importantly, we also want to know like what other people think about the school. So these are all the information parents can get when they come to our website to search for the preschools or classes based on their location and type of program. So yeah, that's about it. Oh, and also we have, actually, we also have our own publication, magazine publication. So far we have 3 volumes now. It looks like this.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Okay. So we distributed this for parents for free at children clinics or children events and at the preschools and enrichment centers. So if you see this copy around, so please welcome to grab yourself a copy. All right, thank you.
Great, thanks, Rachel. As I was telling her earlier, I think a lot of people want to know the face behind kitty123.com because it's such a prominent website in Malaysia. So we're very happy to have you here with us today, Rachel. Following that, our third and final speaker, we have Ms. Teva Malar, who is a licensed counselor in Malaysia and also one of the lecturers with the School of Psychology at Seki College, Subang Jaya. She currently holds a master's in counseling and has a huge passion in psychology. Maybe Ms. Teva, you can add on to that.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to this LittleLives webinar as well. I think Brian has summarized everything about myself. So, well, basically what I can provide to this webinar today is a mental health perspective to, provide, because at the end of the day, it's a pandemic, everybody's in crisis, not just as a profit and loss statement, but as individuals in itself. So I think we need to understand what are the strategies that we can actually take on, just to prepare ourselves a little bit more in handling this whole crisis. So yeah, thank you very much, Brian.
Right, we're very excited because I think I speak on Malaysians in that sense where mental health is, or I think was, a sensitive topic to talk about, especially in the early childhood education. So really excited to see what we can do to dive right into that. So thank you, panelists, for joining us today. We'll make this more of a conversational style discussion, so feel free to chip in whenever with the 3 themes that I've laid out. So I will start off a little bit about just what I know in my expertise. I think as a country, we have been talking a lot about the past, right? We talked about how MCO started on the 18th of March and it has been ongoing since then. We see the news every day, every evening, reporting the numbers, and we anxiously await whether we can go back to reality again. While it is important that we acknowledge the matter beforehand, it is also crucial that we move forward, right? And I think today's topic is such an important one to talk about. Really, is there a reality that we can go back to? We have a new norm now. There's no longer the old life that we used to have in Malaysia, right? So as you all know, a lot of industries are struggling, and one of them is definitely the early child industry, and I think the education system as a whole, right? We've been receiving a lot of news about how schools may not be reopened till end of the year. Some schools are allowed to open, but not, certain categories are not allowed to open. So it's really confusing in that sense. There's no official announcement yet. So I think this conversation will help us kind of understand or clarify better the situation in Malaysia, right? So I'm sure as experts in your own field, you have thoughts about how we can go back to this. And this kicks off our first theme of today's conversation, which is building a mindset to operate virtual schools. So as everyone knows, schools have been ongoing, but it's online, which means there's no face-to-face anymore. To get this started, I'm going to invite Umi Rozita, to share with us her experiences. So as she's a director of a large preschool chain, so tell us, has your school reopened? What's happening? Are there any SOPs in place? like share with us on the ground experience.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Yeah, it started off on the 18th March. Where we got so shocked on this MOC, and we don't know what to do. We panic, and we are like, is this reality? But life must go on. It's the new norms. Actually, we heard about VUCA world long time ago, but maybe we are not so excited. We just let it go. And when we saw China, what happened to China, maybe we just be the viewers, but not prepare ourselves, so that kind of thing. And then when this trauma, this happens to Malaysia, all of us are affected. And of course, we personally, the family, the schools, our teachers, and the parents are so having a horrible time. But interestingly, we are so excited, and emotionally we think creatively what to do next to move on. So this volatile world, we are uncertain how to move on. We are facing a complexity, and we are very ambiguous to the next move. But as an educators, we have to really focus on the development of children. From the VUCA, we have to VUCA again, to vision from the to the volatile situation to visionary, to visualize how to move on to our next to the next future. Either you like it or not, you have to face it. So interestingly, our teachers are so excited to what next, what we should do. Parents are so traumatic, and they have got to be at home with their children. You see, and we don't know, for 1 week, that particular March, we don't know what to do next. We are so, don't know how to Zoom, don't know how to do the video call, and we lost contact with our beloved children. So, but nevertheless, when our teachers or our parents are so positive about this, we take it, as the Malay say, tenang. We have to be very cool, tenang tapi menang. Okay, so we have to face in like another 2 years. That is the first thing that we have to really accept it. You like it or not, we have to tenang, to be cool, and to be together, and the whole world, especially in this education system, must support each other, either from the person itself, the teachers, the parents. You got to really, it takes the whole team, to be in the movement. You cannot be alone, at this point of time. It takes the whole village to really move on, because these critical years, the 6 years and below, need to be to move on, to develop positively. And as what Tiva, as she is a counselor, we are afraid of the emotional breakdown. That is most important. We are afraid that parents are so depressed. Parents don't know what to do. They got to work from home. Then they got to be with their commitment in the office, and they time with children. And then we are giving all the online learnings, and we have to also consider those without the facilities. So and
right.
then,
So Umi, sorry.
The main team that
Yes.
will really motivate parents.
Correct, Umi. So we're going to touch that in a bit later at the end, in the third theme. So you're talking about your experiences in your current schools, correct? So are there anything that you can share with us on what you did to kind of prepare your teachers or your parents to really build a mindset in the virtual schools? Because you have been conducting classes previously online, correct?
Just imagine when we are in our Taska Tadika, we are so in contact with the children. We greet them, we hug them, we've got all the timetables.
Physical touch, yeah.
From morning to the evening, we take them for breakfast and everything, and then we make them sleep for the Taska children. And now we're in lost contact, you see. So what I did was to really build courage to my teachers. My teachers like lost in their own world. They got to be at home, and no way, I cannot communicate with parents via video call. It's not my way. And then I told her, it's either you take it or you take it. You got no choice. You got to learn everything from zero to hero. We got to be in contact with the children and the parents. And of course, we face all these challenges. Parents, some are very supportive, they're happy, they are so interested in joining the programs, but some have all kinds of excuses, and some need to take their children to their grandmas and to kampong and babysitters. So all these challenges have to be overcome slowly but surely.
Right. So thank you, Umi.
Online learning.
Yeah, okay.
The children.
Great. So we'll hear more from you in a little bit. Maybe we can get Trevor to talk a little bit about mindset. So as an expert in your field, knowing that you're a counselor and a psychologist expert, I would say, what do you think is the best mindset? How do you build someone's mindset? Especially if you think about this, we have teachers from ages, literally from young to the older teachers, right? So it can be difficult to build mindset because it's not something that you can do or learn.
Just build overnight, yeah.
Yeah, correct. So are there anything that you can share, or what do you know of about mindset, especially in the industry itself?
So looking at what is happening now, or even during any period of time, not just in a pandemic moment, but in any moment, I think the best and the most important feature, or the most important way to think about things, is to be open. So because when you're open, you will be able to look at challenges differently. You will be able to anticipate certain things. You'll be able to find structure or reorganize if you need to reorganize. So being open to different kinds of experiences, being open to different kinds of challenges is very necessary to build that mindset, to develop that mindset. Because if we are just so stuck with just one way of looking at things, it is very difficult for us when different kinds of challenges come to us. When we are faced with uncertainty, when we're faced with insecurities, we will be so, in fear that we will be immobilized. So we won't be able to continue the sustenance or continue our organization as we want to continue our organization. So the first and foremost thing is to be very open to see things differently. And even before challenges actually do occur, we can look into how can we be more open into, in ways that we provide our services. How can we be more flexible and adaptable even before challenges to happen? If we did look into those kinds of things, some of those, if you look into some of the businesses now that are still sustaining and still thriving throughout the pandemic, many of them have kind of like foreseen some of these things, kind of like saying, okay, what can I do to be adaptable? What can I do to be flexible when these things do happen? So we don't wait until something actually happens and then we're starting to work from ground up again, because that's when you need to look for much more resources. Sometimes those resources are not even available at that point of time. So it's very necessary for, especially as organizations or even as parents, we need to be able to kind of like have a foresight and see, okay, what I need to be more flexible, what I can do to be more adaptable in the situation. How can I teach my child to be more open as well with challenges that's coming? So, children, very young children, they learn very much from their parents. They learn everything in situations at home. So when they see parents are able to handle challenges, when they see parents, they are able to be flexible in terms of challenges. They can look at them and say, oh, mom did this, dad did this. That means I can also do this. So it gives them some sort of reassurance in terms of moving with the changes that's happening, moving with the challenges that's happening, and not just being stuck at, oh my God, challenges are happening, I can't do anything, I'm immobilized, I don't have any resources. So they are not overwhelmed with insecurity at that point of time. So first thing I would say is definitely being open, having the flexibility and adaptability towards any kinds of situations. That will be the biggest catalyst to move you, especially in times of crisis.
Right. Thank you, Deva. And I think what you mentioned applies to not just, I think, post MCO or whatever we're going, but I think for any obstacles in life, you need to be open.
So basically, you're prepared. Yeah.
Great. So next we have Rachel. So as much as we know that you are, the co-founder of Kitty 123, but you're also a parent. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right.
Yes, I am.
Right. So you have been at home, right? So, and your children are
Who
on
is
virtual
everybody?
schools.
Sorry.
Is your child on learning on virtual schools, like virtually?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Great. So
Alright.
can you share with us about the experience as a parent at home with your child who is learning on on a computer on a screen, right? So can you share with us a little bit about that and how you built your mindset to kind of cope with the situation?
Okay. I have two daughters. Okay, but both of them are is already in primary schools. So they are not preschoolers anymore. So they have like online classes through the online. All right. They have, for example, my eldest, she has gymnastic. She's doing gymnastic, and they carried out the classes online.
Wow.
So for me, I think even though it's not as effective as the physical learning when you really go there and train up, but that's the best we can do at the moment. So I think that this is also a good effort from the school, from the center, that they carried out the training online to get to get my kids really like sweat it out and also move around a bit and occupy their time. Otherwise, most of their time will be spent, either
On the screen, yeah.
on the screen but doing something else, not learning. Okay. So for me, this is quite good for the. I mean, we all have to adapt to this new norm. So at first, it's a bit difficult because everyone is a bit, like kelam kabut. Even the schools or the centers also, they don't know when to set up, how to set up. And then also the issue where you don't know how to operate the apps. And then in the beginning also the connection is kind of bad. So when they conduct the online learning, it's not as smooth. So
Right.
but slowly I think now it's getting better and everyone get used to it. Even my kids, they can set up their online learning by themselves. I don't have to help them anymore. So and then
Right. Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
So we're talking about mindset,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
I guess for me, there's not much like challenges for me because I'm in the online
The
business.
tech, yeah.
And my kids basically, like this generation, they are born into technology basically. So for them, they don't see that they have a hard time to really adapt to it. But the one thing that I think is quite important is the routine. I guess when we have online learning, sometimes the timetable is not as fixed as when you go to the physical classroom anymore. So the routine is kind of messed up right now. So I think what the parents have to do is to get them back on the routine to make the online learning or any kind of learning more effective.
Right, and I completely agree. I think what all our three speakers have kind of summarized is having the ability to adapt to the situation that we're currently in is so important. Whether you're a teacher or a parent at home, I think to be open to challenges, to accept them, and then to kind of adapt to it will help us move forward. So I'm just looking at the conversation in our group right now. I'm sure you guys are as well. I think I will agree with Sharon in the online classes are the way to move forward, right? And I think we have to learn a lot, and there are definitely things that we can learn and adapt to. Just there's a question from Shuhada. I think I will throw this to the panel. Feel free to address it if you have any thoughts on it. So
I will start with that.
Yeah, I'm just going to read out loud first. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So she said, aside from the mindset of schools to operate, parents' mindset is also something we need to address, which is what Rachel has talked about. from schools, they're trying to educate the children through this time, but some parents are saying that they disagree with online teaching. So how do we address that? Deva.
I would like to start with this. This was okay when we were thrown into MCO 18th of March a couple of months ago. It was like a shock, and everybody had to suddenly adapt to new things. Even the parents had to suddenly adapt to new things. Change of schedules, change of routines. Everything has to be started again from scratch. Now, childcare, all those things have to be started from scratch. So the first thing that organizations, from some of my observations, the first thing organizations fail to do is that communicate it with their own employees or with whoever their receiving end is, their customers is, for example. The communication is the key in addressing any kinds of conflict. So I think the first and foremost challenge is to communicating or even understanding, okay, this is what I can provide at this point in time, and this is what we need from you at the same time. So, the collaborative effort that needs to be communicated first, because many parents think that, oh, I'm paying you so much of money, so you should be responsible for doing so many things. So now that this whole situation is going crazy, how do I deal with the thing? I'm teaching you to teach my child, not me teaching my child. Many parents might have that mindset too, not just for young children. Even at our college, some of the parents were like, okay, this whole online learning thing, what about the fees and all these kind of things. So many things actually cropped up. But I think the most important thing is to actually, before even classes begin, before even suddenly, okay, now when I send my child from 9 to 5, for example, to a daycare center or a child center, suddenly now they're at home 9 to 5. Parents have to work 9 to 5. So how do we move from that transition, right? So first and foremost, it's communication. Having like this webinars or having a group meeting with parents or sending out some form of statements like, okay, this is the new procedures that we're going to, basically clearly communicating the procedures and what are the necessities, what can be addressed at this point of time, what kind of learning can we conduct at this point of time, then from there you can kind of like create a new framework and give them that framework for the parents to also understand. And this gives room for the parent and the service provider to negotiate, because if there is no process of negotiating, like I'm saying, okay, this is what I'm going to give you, take it, you're definitely going to get some form of backlash or some form of defense on that. Because again, we also need to look into what the parents are doing. The parents are working from home now. Their employers can be demanding as well. So there's a lot of stress involved, financial costs involved. So we kind of like have to look at it from a very holistic point of view, and it's necessary for organizations, especially those dealing with children, maybe pull in some other parties, third parties, to provide support for parents so that they have room to negotiate or vent out whatever stresses that they need to. So kind of like a community support group in a way, because there's so many organizations at the same time. There's early childhood organizations, and then there's also support communities that can work together, so they can kind of like balance out the stresses and the discrepancies, or some form of communication that's necessary for the parents. But given said all that, there will be, it's hard to please everyone. It's hard to please every parent as well, because some are very fixed in their mindset. Some are very rigid in the way they look at things. So those are more of the tough ones to deal with. But I think giving some time for the organization and for parents to adapt, and not just like, if I'm following a schedule from 9 to 5 and the same schedule needs to be followed at home by parents, might be difficult in the beginning, but breaking it down to be more flexible, because I realized that, early childhood centers operate the same time parents are also working. So the timing clash, how do parents teach children at the same time when they're also supposed to be working at the same time? So yeah, so
Correct.
maybe some form of flexibility can be, managed in between this whole time and the time that both of them are at home. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. So thank you, Teva. I think that explains a lot about how, to really encourage parents to have a better mindset. So I'm just going to close out theme 1. But before that, I'm just going to...
Brian, I think Rachel wants to...
Yes. Sorry, Rachel. Yes, Rachel.
Sorry, Ryan. Yeah, I just want to add,
Feel free.
on what Deva was saying just now. Yeah, I agree with Deva completely that the open, you need to have the open communication with the parents, between the principals, teachers, and the parents, right? And also, Actually, parents, we are, in general, I think we are quite supportive. If you really tell us like, what you're going to do, what's your next steps and all, you communicate that with us, we are actually very supportive also. So because we are in this for a long-term relationship, you see, we send our kids there like for a few years time. It's not like just 1 or 2 days, right? We also want to maintain the kind of good relationship between the schools and us. So I think, yeah, that's why I just want to add on that. And also maybe, just an idea, like for example, like Teva said, the schools maybe can have a Zoom meeting with the parents, to address the issue. But at the same time, maybe they can also invite the parents maybe to join some of the online learning sessions that their kids have. Maybe just the beginning of it or the end, when you do some kind of sort of evaluation, or whether how effective is the online learning, and we get the feedback from parents. Yes.
So I think yeah, correct. So as I agree with both speakers, so I'm just gonna close out theme 1, which is the virtual mindset. I'm myself on virtual schools, but I have a question for Umi Rozita, right? So like we were saying, parents should learn how to be more involved in the process, right? Example is, I think we want to know is, how can parents evaluate their own children at home? Like, how do we know what the child has learned, how much he or she has learned? Like, how do you teach parents that to evaluate their own children based on what the school has taught them?
Yeah, related to what Mohan is stating in the chat now, positive relationship between school and home is paramount to the success of online education. Yeah, that is why we need the whole village. Is the child, the parents, the family, the aunties and the grandmas, and the community, to be involved. And we in Persatuan, example, Persatuan Pengasuh Berdaftar Malaysia, then in Pertim. So we always stay connected. So to how we can manage these challenges, maybe we can educate, train our teachers to do all the changes, to change the mindsets. But parents need to work, whatever happened, they need to work. So the stakeholders, all the employers need to understand this. Maybe need to change the timing system, be more flexible. They might go on rotating the shift of working, something to make do, how to move on, you see. And all operators, all teachers, stay connected to each other, so that you have to get to know new things. You have got to be clear. The complexity that we are facing now, we have to clarify it, so that, and then you have to be really agile to the next movement, to really speed up what's next. Don't stay in your own mindset. You need to change. There's no way that you stay to your own style. You need to really be in contact, and then maybe the learning style is different. Learn something new, be online, and then but you have to really bear in mind the development of a child cannot be changed further. Meaning to say, it has to really back to nature. How children learn, it must be child-centered. It must be using all their 5 senses. And online learning is something that I'm a bit fearful if parents and teachers just focus on online learning. There's no connection, there's no bonding, no attachment. We have to make way to make, like what Rachel said, her daughter learned gymnastics. Yeah, via a Zoom. And even taekwondo, you can do it, but not swimming lah. So that kind of thing, we need to really connect and contact the children, so that they move on. And this program must be with their own teachers, because they miss this connection. They cannot touch or hug, but they can still have the emotional feeling. And then, of course, they miss their teachers. And I understand some children, my children, are still excited to go to school once the Kementerian released the SOPs, and now our TASCA is running. And we are so excited to see what our friends doing. how is social distancing? How can we really distance them? See, because before we are just like hugging each other, just imagine you got to drop the child and then you cannot hug the child. These little ones cannot understand. So that is why parents must really be in the team also. Partnership is really important, and the community must really understand this. And then self-discipline is also important to make sure the safety, the health is really constant. You have to follow this. You cannot run from this SOP because it's all for the best interest of the children.
Right. Thank you, Umi Rozita. Yeah. So I think she's actually brought into the next theme, which is the new norm. But just to kind of wrap things up for theme 1, I just want to really say the comment section is very engaging. I think people are really talking about, sharing their own perspective and their own experiences, I would say. But really, I want to kind of highlight what Dorcas Lowe said about the teachers having a grit. Let me just find that earlier. I found that very nice. Yeah, team of teachers must have the grit to move on. As a team leader, we must always be optimistic and encourage your team to learn and try new things in order to teach students effectively and keep connecting with parents. So I think as a whole, we've talked about mindset for teachers, parents, and I think to a certain extent, children, how to better prepare them to be ready for virtual schools to whatever time in the future, right? So thank you, speakers. So now we'll just jump straight into the new norm, which is our second theme. So I think Umi Rozita has also touched on, what is going to happen when schools do reopen. They are unable to hug each other, or they can't be playing around together. They have to be seated separately with social distancing, wearing masks full time in closed in indoors, right? So I'm just going to start off with, I think, Rachel. So as someone working closely with the early child industry, we're all aware that we may not be fully ready with this new norm, right? So in your opinion, when do you think we will be ready for this entirely? Infrastructure-wise, mentality-wise, resources-wise, what do you think?
Sorry, Brian, you mean online, like the readiness for us to go like the new norm? Okay.
Yeah.
I think mainly when we talk about the new norm in education, we'll be referring to the shifting from the traditional classroom setting to like online learning, right? So actually, I don't know when. I don't know when we are going to, be ready, to completely go into that. But I think it's going to be sooner than we expected. Because with online and technology, things tends to work to move faster. So you see, like before COVID-19, we are running our business as usual. We go to school, our kids go to school as usual, learn things from school. But then suddenly when the COVID-19 hit, and then everyone has to stay home, and then the schools have like it's also a short notice, I think, within like 2 days before the closure. So then everyone is like a bit, glum kabut at first, I would say. So don't know what to do. Okay, kids are not coming to school anymore. What are they going to do? So, but you see, after maybe 1 or 2 weeks time, and then the school already figured out like how to conduct online classes. So it's actually kind of fast, I would say. So, and also because everyone is online now, online resources are like abundance, like a lot of online resources to teach you like how to prepare your lessons,
right.
how to
so speaking of which, Kitty, is kitty1shoot.com preparing any resources? Because we know that you have plentiful of resources, interviews and content to help the early child industry. Are there anything in plan to really move to the new norm? Any resources, any plans?
Okay, so far what we have done, or we are currently doing, is to keep on, continue to create the relevant content for the early childhood education community. All right. So I think definitely it's not like it is relevant to the current situation, but doesn't mean that this content is not going to be useful in the future. So mainly what we published like recently, since the beginning of MCO, we created like bundles of worksheets, printable worksheets, yeah.
Right.
So and then we publish on our website and then post it on Facebook. So this is for the worksheets is for preschoolers, so parents and teachers can download and use it, during their class or anytime when the parents want to occupy their child. And then the other thing, we also publish a lot of like tips, what kind of apps can you use to run online classes, and then our safety guides, like how when you reopen your school, what are the safety guides that you need to follow. And and during the MCO, we also interviewed like our preschool owners, to talk to them, and then to know like what challenges are they facing.
Yeah.
I think we sort of talked about COVID-19, the consequences of COVID-19, how actually the pandemic hit the preschools, and how they actually what steps have they taken to overcome the obstacles.
Great.
And the other thing also, I think we have collaborated, I think, with some of our preschools as well to run like webinar to talk about like during MCO how to survive, during the MCO. Yeah, a lot of participants as well. And as for our clients, I would say clients at KD 123, all the preschools and enrichment centers at KD 123, we at this point of time we are busy working hard to help them with the online marketing, because although now the school is closed, but then when we are going to reopen soon, you need enrollment, right? You also need to enroll new students, although not in the short period of time because of the social distancing things, but in the future down the road you still need to enroll like new students. That is what we are helping them to do the online marketing through our website and through the social media platform like Facebook marketing.
Great. Yeah, so very excited to see what kd123.com has in plan. I'm sure, with moving forward with the new norm, a lot of industries are going to change how they operate, what content they'll be putting out, right? So just going to go back more to the school's point of view.
Yeah, right. On that, right?
Yeah, I'm going to actually give you a question, but
okay,
you can
sure. Yeah, I'm just going to add on to what Rachel said. In terms of the new norm, right? I think how the schools or the kindergartens can actually start preparing the children and the parents to also come into school. I'm just thinking out of my, just on top of my head here. Like maybe the schools or this, these organizations can prepare little kits of like videos, of like kid-friendly kind of videos that help children to understand, hey, this is what we are going to do when you come back to school. It's been such a long time, since we've not been back in school, but now we're going to come back. So what are the things that we need to follow? Because children are a little bit different, because they are they listen to people that they like. Sometimes they don't listen to the parents, but if they're very familiar with their teachers, they will listen to them. They like their teachers. They want to go back to their friends. They will listen to all those kind of things. So creating kid-friendly resources I think is also very important, so that before they actually physically go back to school, they already have an idea like, oh, this is a bit dangerous for me, so I need to do social distancing. I cannot do this, I cannot do that, and I can do that. So kind of like familiarizing the kids in itself before they go into the schools. So that would be, I think that would be one of the most important or necessary steps to prepare the kids' mindset also when they go back to school. You have to wear your mask and all those kind of things, but in a more kid-friendly version to make them understand all the things that they need to do.
Right, perfect. So really to add on to that, what you just mentioned, Deva, just going to help us briefly kind of create this understanding. When children go back to school, right, they'll be very confused because they've been stuck with their parents for the longest time, and when they do go back, it's going to be very awkward. It's like first day back to school, or if you're in a new school, when you transition from primary to secondary, there's going to be this awkwardness, right? Are there anything tips maybe you can share with us on how we can encourage parents to teach them, or maybe some things that you know of that children can quickly learn aside from the videos that you share with kids? Yeah.
Right. Okay. First and foremost, of course, these things start from home. So you need to start teaching kids from a compassion point of view rather than a very technical point of view. So what I mean by compassion point of view is that they don't see things as adults do. They don't see the danger in this whole situation. They don't seem to understand a lot of things, right? So we need to kind of like break down the whole information into a very small pieces, small little pieces, and give them, okay, if you don't do this, what is the consequence to be? So it's kind of like a small pieces of information that you need to slowly prepare. Now that they've been home for so long, they might be used to new routines already. So just before going back to school, try to get them into slowly integrate different kinds of routines, like remind them. Reminders are very, very important, because the more you're reminded of something, the more you are familiar with those kinds of new routines that might be coming up. So give them little reminders that, hey, you know what, next week you're going to go back to school. So, you know, what are your thoughts about that? So basically, again, having the communication with the kids in itself. It's also very, very important from the parents. So parents are also prepared, like, okay, I'm sending my kids to school. What are my child's fears at this point of time? I can understand that a little bit more. And then also parents are also getting information from the schools where they will try to provide or break down this information again back to the children. So preparing children to go into a new phase, into a new style of learning is equally important in this creating or adapting to this new norm. Like, what do you need to wear? What do you need to do? So kind of like a reminder on a daily basis. Yeah, that's important as well.
Sweet. All right, so thanks, Deva. All right, Umi, so now I'm going to jump right into you. You know, you are going to be actually more on the ground because schools are going to reopen or reopening soon. So you'll be the first person or like the first kind of line to experience this new norm. What are your thoughts on the new norm and how will you go about it?
Yeah, your question is also related to some of the viewers' question regarding the
Yes, correct. Yes.
The how can we really go into this reality, and one question here is like, when is Tadika opening? I heard that there are certain SOPs, but nevertheless parents, as what Tiva said, parents must be educated too. I just want to show you one book. This is the KAP book. This 2.5 kg need to be understood by our early childhood educators in the TASCA. So we have to go for this 144 hours program. And we have to deliver this by all means before in this critical age, you see. And these are the KSPK syllabus that the Tadika need to really master. So just imagine, all the falsafah pendidikan negara must comply, either it's during COVID or pasca COVID, whatever. So and then we are the VUCA world is changing. We need to really reflect, really review the syllabus, which really maybe reinvent, maybe relaunch a new syllabus to move forward. And not only the teachers or the operators, but the parents themselves. The why you are sending your children to TASCA Tadika must be understood clearly. The why that you are really need to send them to school is because you are working, but you are the first teacher. So I hope the government not only think on the SOPs and whatnot, but quickly get us involved in reflexing or reviewing back the syllabus, the curriculum. So we are trainers, you see. So we need to move on to train parents. Now is the time to parents to understand why this critical age. There's no excuses for parents to say, I got no time, I'm working, I need to feed the family, my husband is like, we don't have the internet. By all means, this critical age must move on to our children. Except to say some, but not all, some parents just ignore this privilege. You know, it's actually a blessing in disguise, Brian. When you are with a children, you know, maybe the school system will change the schedule. Maybe it's only 4 hours, then you have to go back, and some will come in the morning, some will come in the afternoon. You know, so where is your child in the morning or in the afternoon? Maybe with the babysitters. Maybe you hire the nannies. Is it practical? Is it really good? Is the nannies well trained? Is the home your even your grandmas or your grandpas, you know, your mother and your parents need to know how crucial is this critical age, because I am afraid of the child's well-being. I'm really
Right.
afraid about depression, you know, and sad to say, what do you call that? Physical abuse, mental abuse is really making me worry. You know, parents are getting divorced. You know, their parents are lost job. You know, this financial constraint make it worsen. So the teachers, the school need to work together, not as like you and sending your delivering things, but it's regarding to deliver love, laugh. You know, all those things need to be to get the parents' involvement together. Whatever that you do it in the Taska Tadika, the new norms, you got to carry on at home. You see, so parents need to really change to reflect back their main role, because you cannot miss this critical age. Okay, so
Right.
this trauma that and phobia. Now phobia of mass gathering, phobia of the shopping, phobia of
Exactly. Yeah.
Touching anything.
shopping. So shopping is all online. So you need to have parents to have the right toys for their home. You know, be engaged with parents. What do you have at home? Maybe we supply them, encourage them, or introduce new toys for them to have at home, and bring the from school to home as a normal way for in these new norms. You know what I mean? So I hope some of these educators out there, or the government, or even all the agencies, the stakeholders, must go back and reflect and review the syllabus, the curriculum, not only in the Taska Tadika, also in the primary school, because we cannot
Right.
miss emotional development, the well-being, the health, and the safety of the child. Okay?
Right. Exactly.
I hope
I agree. Yeah.
some of
Really. Yeah. I really agree with one about Umi Rosita. Really, I think this is the time where parents get to spend quality time with the children, and it's such a privilege, right? I'm just thinking back when I was growing up. You know, I barely see my parents because they're working so hard, and I'm always at school, or when I come back, I'm with the maid, or like it's something we take for granted, especially from parents these days. And I think parents need to kind of use this time, use this experience to really bond with the children. And I think I agree with you. This is such an important age for them to learn new things, adapt, and to get ready for what's to come next, because the future is so unpredictable at this period of time. So really, thank you. And I think our audience agreed with what you just said, Umi, Rosita. Very well said.
Wait to help parents, you know. Maybe
Right.
we can continue this program. Maybe we can educate a few, just a half an hour, 1 hour, just to make them aware the importance of the early age. Once this critical age is gone, it's gone, because whatever that you motivate the children from the early years, it brings results to the later years. You agree with me, Siva? So
Yes, definitely.
we cannot miss this period. The language, connecting, whatever must be from day one.
Yep.
And the 1,000 days, is 3 years is the absorbent mind. If you miss it, it will affect the later years. So bear in mind, let's move on, parents or teachers, let's move on. Be educated, go into any learning program. You know, it's so easy now. You don't have to move out of your house. You just need 1 hour daily, weekly lesson, and you can learn a lot. You see, for
Correct.
the best of the children.
Exactly. So as we continue more about talking about the new norm, I'm just gonna throw this question to Rachel. All right. You know, as mentioned by Umi Rosita, you know, the conventional methods of teaching children used to be very interactive, face to face. With the new norm, we don't know what's going to happen. It may be face to face. It may still be online teaching. In your point of view, how do you think teachers or parents led together can make use of technology today to make up for the change in the new? Because it's going to be very different. So how do you think technology plays a part?
Okay. Now, first of all, I think that for preschoolers, the conventional, classroom learning can never be replaced by online learning. So it can supplement, but not substitute. It's not a replacement for that. Because children, when they learn, they need to how to say, like really touch, use all their sensories to learn and learn through play, like you say. So I don't think this can be replaced. And when you talk about technology-wise, right? At the moment, I think a lot of educators already know like what's available online for you to carry out the online classes. Like for example, I think the most widely used in Malaysia would be Zoom for video conferencing apps. Okay, Zoom, maybe Google Meet, some of them will use. And then for classroom, what do you call that, like management, they probably use Google Classroom, this kind of thing. And also, to create content, maybe PowerPoint or Google Form, or I think I've saw some website actually do game-based quizzes where you create like questions, like kind of game kind of feel. So you get the kids actually excited to like Kahoot, like
Yes,
Celine
Kahoot is good too. Yeah.
Quizzes and things like that. Okay, they'll get very excited, and when they want to they answer the question and they know straight away what their views, their scores are. And also some audio recording, video recording. Maybe some of the teachers actually record their voice or their video and to conduct the online classes. And also I think on the Zoom, I think we can also share screen with a whiteboard and things, so you can have
Yes.
kind of interaction with your kids as well. So, but I think like what Umi Rozita also mentioned just now, like you need to have, when you conduct online classes, it's not really the matter of technology itself only. So it also how you conduct the online classes, like the interaction that you need to create, the engagement, what can you do to let the kids like get excited to join the class. So some example that I can think of is, for example, you can do online maybe morning exercise. So you get every day 8 o'clock, okay, everyone come on a Zoom, and then we do a morning exercise or things like that. You get to help them to build up the routine as well. Or you can do some kind of online competition, get the kids to do some like singing or spelling bee or things like that.
Correct.
I might Brian to Rachel's suggestion on what activity is relevant to
Yes.
because it's hands-on, because all the senses must be involved. As easy as cooking, making juice, you can get them involved in all the development, the language, the physical, the fine motor skills, can be involved. So parents must be adjusted, must be made known that not only cooking and not only writing and reading is the lesson, but doing practical things, practical life, sweeping, arranging your shoes, all those things are activities through play. So children needs to play, and being on for maximum of time, 1 hour, is a disaster, because I think only 20 minutes maybe you can just get, and then they'll look at the sky, they look at the wall, and then the teachers got to call them, come back, we are doing online learning. It's nonsense to be too long on the screen. So why not we encourage them to do activities that are so close to their heart at home, washing, and then playing with dolls, and then go back to nature. Our time is like playing chongka, playing hurdles and all those things. And of course, you have children who are so physically involved. They cannot sit down in front of the laptop. You need to make them move. then give assignments like, okay, let me see how many of you has done their kicking and bouncing and all those things. Have you helped your parents? And how are values engaged with parents? How we teach values? You know,
Right. Yeah.
values like how we can teach academic to learn read and writing and all those worksheets. But what about the values? To learn how to say to thank you, sorry, may I? You know, all those things must be considered, because we are afraid of this world now. You know, there's no more politeness, there's no more courtesy, responsibility, forgiveness, and I'm afraid about that. You know, so again,
Yeah.
all the groups are supporting me to make sure parents are educated. We teachers are okay. Inshallah, we are okay because we learn, we have our certificate, we meet each other. But how can parents be educated when they are working? And if we invite them for the weekends, they are also involved with the children. So the majikan, the employers, please make time to have this training during the working days. Maybe I think 5 days module is enough for the parents to really wake up call, you know, so that life more goes on, and they have children getting bigger and bigger. It's not like full time is learning. It's now. You know, if you have babies, this is the critical age for you to look at your child, talk to your child, breastfeed your child, you know, give all the attachment and the loving, so that they will remember until their old age, you know. The parents must understand their role as the first teacher.
Great. Right. So yeah.
Important than others. Technology, you know, going online,
Yeah.
the curriculum can be managed. The
Correct.
mindset, you got to
Correct.
reflect.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. And I think what we're really wrapping things up for Team 2, which is the new norm, is parents' roles are so important, right? Like you're talking about teachers, how they can be better, you know, how can the Ministry of Education be better, how can the government play a part, but really parents are the ones that should really need to step up. And I think I agree with you. I think they need to be given that flexibility. So just to wrap things up for Team 2, which I'm
Right?
going
Can I just a little bit to add on before you wrap up Team 2?
Sure.
Because I noticed there's so many teachers, especially, you know, on group chat, that's been expressing so much. I can sense a lot of stress also working with parents. I mean,
Yes.
it's reasonable, it's acceptable that you have this kind of stress working with parents, because, you know, at this point of time there is a conflict, and there's not really a smooth kind of a relationship. So I think maybe this is also an experience. This gives us an experience to look into our relationship building with our parents, and how we can work together, as I've mentioned just now. But also, at the same time, this gives us an opportunity to look into the methods of employing the teaching, or looking into the change of curriculum. And this is bigger than just the schools in itself, because it has to involve the ministries, the agencies, the governmental agencies as well, and also the organizations where, you know, parents are part of as employees. So it is really a really big scale, and as Rozita mentioned just now, it takes a village to change a lot of things, you know, to adopt to new norms and a lot of things. So yeah, so just not with changing other things, but not just looking at one point of view, but rather we have to work collectively. Maybe in schools now we can look into how we can actually do this from now onwards, not just when there's a pandemic. So integrating, like someone mentioned just now, blended learning. So that is a very good tool to start different kinds of learning at this point of time, and changing the curriculum in a way. So this is more adaptable and more feasible in the long term. Yeah. So this is,
thank you very much for really addressing that. And of course, we have a time check. It's just 11:02. We are on good timing. So now we're going to enter the final theme of the webinar, which is tools, tips, and resources. As we all know, there are so many contents out there, so many professionals on, you know, Facebook, Instagram. So many companies are coming up with so much resources that we can kind of learn from each other, right? You have content, you have advice, you know, just so many things. But which one really works? Okay, so I'm gonna jump right into you, Teva. Actually, I'm gonna draw from what we had just now about stress.
Sure.
You know, we noticed that it's like a very, and there's also a question as well from a statement from ST on the chat as well. What are the signs or indicators that, you know, parents, children, or teachers are stressed? And
Okay.
what are the tips that you can give to kind of relieve that stress? Because it's not easy. Not anybody
Yeah.
can handle stress, and people take stress very differently. And I think I agree with ST. Stressful parents reflect a very stressful learning experience at environment at home. How do you manage that?
Sure. Okay. First of all, I think it's very important to acknowledge that there is a change happening, because a lot of times we're just jumping into things, we're not really acknowledging what's happening to us at the point of time. So first and foremost, acknowledging that whatever that you're feeling is valid and it's not unreasonable, and that stress that you're feeling, the frustration that you're feeling, that guilt. You know, sometimes parents have guilt, teachers have guilt. Like, have I done enough? Am I giving enough for my children at this point of time when I have to teach from home? So there's so many layers of emotions that's actually happening. It's a lot of mixed emotions that's happening during this time. And they have their own personal things to worry about as well. So first and foremost is to understand and provide yourself that space to acknowledge that, hey, something is happening to me, some changes are happening to me. Am I more agitated? Am I always feeling a certain guilt, or am I feeling always rushed into, you know, trying to do certain things? So am I not having enough time? Am I feeling overwhelmed? So is it eating into my habits of sleeping, eating, all those kinds of things? So that is a sign, first and foremost, layers of stress. So when you know your habits are changing than what it was, before it was well balanced anyway, nothing affected you as much. But now if it's affecting you more than it should, then you already know those are the first signs of stress or frustration. So how you can actually manage stress and allow yourself that space is definitely, but as I mentioned just now, first is to acknowledge that, hey, it's a difficult situation. We're going to feel a lot of things. It's normal, it's acceptable, and it's reasonable to feel that way. Many times we try to push away these negative feelings that come just because, no, I cannot be stressed. No, I cannot feel this way. I cannot do this. I just have to focus. No, you cannot work out your stress with pushing things away. You have to be able to acknowledge, give yourself time, and sit with that emotion and try to understand, okay, where exactly this is coming from. Is this coming from my inability to spend time with my children, for example, because I have to work, or is it coming from too much work? What is it that's happening? So basically sitting down and analyzing, okay, what am I feeling? What do I need to do about it right now? What do I need to balance? What do I need to reorganize right now? Many times stress can be reduced by just reorganizing, finding a balance being. Of course, balance is it's become like a very meaningless word at this point in time, given the world that we live in. But it's necessary. Balance does not mean to have everything in a certain way, but balance is being flexible. Balance is being adaptable, because it boosts your resilience. So trying to change with the time, trying to understand the needs or the challenges that's cropping up at that point of time. That is very crucial to just get at this moment, what is most important for me to address. So prioritizing what's going on with your life, and then reorganizing everything and allowing yourself to have a little bit of time to have this reflection and to bring yourself centered and to find different ways to release your stress. Now of course we can go out a little bit more, we can go running and cycling or whatever it is, but it is still it's PKB bersyarat, right? It's a conditioned CMCU, so you can't really be out so much as well. So what are the things that you can do within your home space where you can actually include your family members in this? You can include your children, you can include anybody, right? You can even do things on a lot of Zumba classes online and all those kind of stuff. Right? A lot of interactions is still happening online. So use those tools as much as you can to the best that you can use, and integrate them into your life. Because if you stop recognizing that you need to stop and recollect yourself and re-energize yourself, that's when you start having burnout to continuously happen, because you're accumulating stress but you're not releasing your stress. So it's very necessary for you to basically reflect, take time to reflect, and look into the tools that you have around you that you can use to do what you need to do at the point of time to release stress.
Right. I oh my God, I think you have just kind of summarized really how an individual can just handle stress. I think it's so important. I agree with you. You really have to acknowledge that we are stressed. We are in a very different place in the world right
Place
now.
right now. Yeah.
How do we really manage it? I think you really summarized it well. So thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go straight into Umi Rozita. So you have really voiced out the things that I think a lot of us want to hear and need to hear in this webinar. So what do you think? What are some tips or resources that you know are available and will work or can be tried to work for schools?
Yeah, when you have this attitude of moving forward, life must go on. We need to really make ourselves into this challenge. By all means, parents, when they send their children, they have to follow the SOP. And then I'm so glad that I have LittleLives program, so that parents really know the health of their children. So if they are at work, so we need to take their temperature 2-3 times a day, isn't it? So that's one thing they have to really engage with the technology, and then we have all the systems that parents need to be engaged. Either you like it or not, that is the way that life goes on. Other than that, parents must be in contact with the teachers, with the childcare providers, and make sure parents send their children to the right school, to the right centers which are registered. Out there are so many promotion, to take up so many things that we are not sure whether they are legal. So make sure you get to the Jabatan JKM or Kementerian, wherever, to make sure you are sending your children to the right school, to make sure their pathway is really on the correct track, so that we can really make children enjoy their life. Children only live at one time. Once they miss their childhood life, it's gone. If you remember how Eric Erikson and Vygotsky, all those scholars, encourage to make sure child are initiated and not to trust the teachers, to really have the autonomy, to really be initiated in loving the world. I mean, be in touch, loving the lessons that they give. It's how you apply the way child learn. It's not the way you learn. It's the way how child really make themselves happy doing anything that we want them to do.
Right.
You have to understand how children develop. So do parents really know? We don't have this curriculum yet. So I'm really encouraging at least parents do learn, do make themselves engage with the teachers, and then maybe the operators can have online learning, half an hour a day maybe, or just give WhatsApp calls and attach with any YouTube. And slowly, 10 minutes a day, slowly and surely, parents will get this knowledge, and then they be partners. So we have to really get together to be partners. We are not rivals. Among the operators must be partners. Tell us what new things that you know. Don't hide to yourself, because this COVID is like will be in trauma for maybe 2 years. So don't be selfish. You have got to really selfless, to make sure that you help each other, because we are so lucky that we are in Malaysia. Now what's happening in US?
Oh yes, yeah.
So we have to make sure that social being, their connection with the public, with the community, and hopefully more children are engaged with the adults, so that they really can manage their good attitudes, good moral. I'm more concerned about that. Academic, their brain are ready. It's nothing to worry. Academically, anything you give the children, they absorb. Then you have to make sure again about their pemakanan, whatever
food intake, nutrition.
This is also important, because the food they take, the environment they are in is important, and how the nature brings all this towards the betterment of our children.
Right.
Parents be more particular on the food that children are taking. Please make sure you give good routines to your daily commitment in the house. Make do at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes to engage eye contact with your child. And then for young parents who have newborn babies, hopefully you are breastfeed your children. Because
right. Yeah. So I think, yeah. Thank you, Umi Rosita. I think I'm a person of routine. I really, really enjoyed that cycle of routine where you have to learn something new. And I think it's a saying where if you do something for 21 days straight, it'll become a habit. So like, you know, if you're a parent and this is your time to really learn something new and to spend more time with your children, be more involved in their life, in their learning experiences. And I think all three speakers have kind of spoken. Yes, Rachel, I'm going to come straight to you now, actually.
Okay.
So you're going to say something, but also just to add on to what
you were saying that, after after you do the same thing for 21 days, it's going to be like a habit, right? But right now we are in MCO for more than
80 days?
60 days plus, yeah.
Whatever we are doing during the MCO, it has become a habit.
Yes.
So really, sometimes if you form a bad habit during this MCO,
79 days. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah.
Oh, it's really hard to break right now. So we need to know like how to actually go back to the previous
routines
that we have.
Right. So Rachel, coming to you now, with what the speakers have mentioned about stress, how to manage stress, tips and resources, as from a technology point of view in your company and just you as a person or as a professional in the industry, what are some thoughts or tools, resources, tips that you know that will help the industry grow?
In terms of
like, what do you think would be helpful? Some tips that you can share with our listeners today?
Technology-wise?
Yeah. Or what?
Okay, I think like Teva or Umi Rozita was talking just now, tools are like, there are a lot available online. It's just that how you make use of the technology to deliver your objective. I think that's the more important part. In fact, I want to share something with you guys also. Like I saw from this news, I think it's actually the survey conducted by the Ministry of Education regarding like they're surveying on teaching and learning online, which involve about 90,000 students. So around 37% of students nationwide do not have any devices to access to online learning, which means they don't have any devices. So, and out of the 60-something% that have devices, only 15% with computers. And but around 46% have smartphones, you see. But if you want to conduct an online classes, I think we really need I think we need computers. I don't see how we can do the online learning. You can learn something online through a mobile phone in such a small size. So I think this is something that the government might need to address as well, because it's actually affecting about 37% of the people, the students. So and also another question about internet connection. If you want to go online, you need to have internet. And some places are like slow, and I don't think they can even conduct like a Zoom meeting or
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Sorry, Rachel.
But I also saw another news that Penang, right? They set up like a task force to actually ease the transition of e-learning. So they are providing loan and grants of computers, computer training, purchase of computer at a discounted price. I think this is a good initiative. So hoping to see maybe we'll do this. Yes.
Yeah. Just going to add on to all three speakers. I think you're right. Accessibility is something that not everybody has. Computers, internet, devices. We have people who can't afford to pay for all these resources, right? So what I've kind of been involved in before my job here is when I used to volunteer, what we did for those students who can't really afford, what the government did was, I think this was in Cambodia, we call this the education bus. So they go around small places on a weekly basis. So like Monday will be this town, Tuesday will be this town. And what they do is they have resources available in that bus. So then children all come. So the villagers, at that time it was villagers. So all these people will come to the bus and they will learn something that day. So it's actually a program where it's quite cute because you give a chance to everyone to learn, right? And I think we may want the government to kind of think about this. It's interesting enough. I think it's something that we can learn. All right, so with time at about 10 minutes to end, what are some last words you want to say, panelists? Really, the participants really appreciate your time here today. What are some things that you want to share before we end this webinar? Maybe we start with Teva first.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is that this is not just one organization's effort or parents' effort. It needs to be a collective effort. Government needs to be involved in itself. Policies have to be involved in itself. And we also need to relook. This gives us an opportunity to relook into our teaching methods and the way we deliver as well. So maybe moving forward, this prepares us to be able to sustain businesses given the improvements that we can make within our teaching resources, or create more resources for us to utilize and reach out to many children that need it. But of course, we need to customize it accordingly to the needs of the child in itself. Of course, very young children have different needs compared to teenagers or something, in any other age range. So customization needs to happen. So I think we're basically learning a lot of things through this period as well. Although it's been a toll on a lot of us, but we are learning a lot of things so that we can improve our systems and the involvements that's necessary from different parties as a collective initiative to bring about change. I think that's your take from this.
Great. Maybe thank you, Heather. Thank you very much. Umi, Rozita?
Yeah, I just want to share some tips because as we understand, life must go on. So I think you have to really discipline yourself, fix your routine, whether you're working online or working from home or going to work. You have to really sit down together in the family and fix a routine with your spouse, so that you can manage work and family. Secondly, maybe you need to really wake up early in the morning. Before, maybe you wake up quite late, but for this matter, you need to really make food for your family, because I think I would encourage my parents to bring their own food. So parents, please do cooking from home, you see? Yeah, and then please do some exercise. You need to really do exercise, do morning breathing, or do whatever meditation and then stay connected with the teachers. Love your teachers, love your neighbors, love your siblings, love your parents more, more, so that you are happy. You are facing all these trauma, phobia, and challenges, but when you are happy together in the family, have good communication, and really engage the 3 golden moments. When you are at your meal, maybe in the car, and before sleep, this critical moment that I call it golden moment must be as a routine, so that you show your love to your children. Whatever happens, you are challenged with a financial problem, but you still say your love to your children, greet your children, appreciate everything they do. I don't like to. I'm so worried that mothers keep scolding scolding their children for not doing their homework, for not doing their work, whatever, and they are struggling too. They are struggling to learn all these new things, and then teachers giving homework, parents scolding them, all this causes stress. Is it? Thirdly, parents and teachers learn new things. Get involved with anything new. Go and study. Go from your diploma to degree to master or PhD. Because we need to know the VUCA world is like not before. It's now. The future is now. So we need to know what's happening to the world. We don't know next year what happened, what diseases coming, what virus are facing. You see, then of course make sure you update to all the new things. Newspapers, Twitters, FB, Instagram. Make sure I'm the baby boomers, but I must make sure I am on the go. I need to know. I don't know how to do Zoom, but I make sure that I learn, so that we are on track with all you guys, you see. And of course, stay healthy, away from tobaccos and drugs and alcohol. Please, you need to throw all this away. You see what happened lately? You see what happened? Yang tak berdosa kena langgar, okay? And maybe you need to be close to your God. Do meditation, do self-affirmation in the morning, be positive. No money, but I can still live. All this. Breathing is a good exercise. Little things that means a lot. And then eat healthy food, sleep well. Those are things that minor things that help you survive. Things that really important for you to move on. Be in contact. There are few things that I think is little but means a lot. So I see some of the viewers are so excited to move on, to grow up and to be engaged with education. So why not go venture in any? And we forgot to mention about children in special need. We forgot to mention how important.
Correct.
How I'm stressed now. Wow,
right.
It's something you have to know about how to manage early detection. You have to manage them too.
Yeah, maybe you can actually say that for the next webinar. I think it'll be very interesting to have you on the board as well again.
To do sensorial activities,
Yeah.
You can learn better.
All right, thank you, Umi Rozita. So finally, Rachel, what are some things you would like to say to our listeners today? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. No, it's very background.
Serious?
It's better now. Yeah, it's better now-ish. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very choppy. It's very like Wait, let me try something. Try now.
Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Better. Yes.
Okay. So I would like to say that all right, COVID-19, has certainly changed our way of living, working, and even learning. You see, so education has changed dramatically due to this pandemic. Learning has shifted from the physical classroom learning to the virtual learning on digital platforms, right? So I think this is a new norm for everyone. So we have no choice but to accept it and to adapt to it. So then moving forward, I think we will see more of hybrid kind of learning, like where learning will take place, offline and both online and offline on the both online and offline platform. So then also I want to say, I know that this is a difficult time for everyone. I guess until the vaccine is ready, I think we are going for a rough ride down the road. So, and also I know that a lot of preschools operators right now, what they're worried about is the sustainability, of the business, because we heard some of them actually going to close down because that they cannot sustain during this period of time. So I think that but don't give up just yet. Keep it together, and because we are all in this together. So I think in times like these, we should think about how we can actually, the whole community, how can we work together to come up with a better solution, or how can we leverage on technology, how can we pool our resources, not just in terms of information, but also like skills, like people, how can we share our maybe like we can collaborate with other schools, and like two schools can collaborate together, and how some of their teachers provide some of the online classes for the other schools, and vice versa. So I think we really can look into that, and also see how we can create a more effective online learning for our future generation. And also talking about this sustainability of the business, I would like to share something with all the preschool operators over here. I don't know whether this is a good news to all of you, because we at KD123, we actually applied to become one of the TSP for, to help the SME to digitalize their business. Okay,
Right.
can I just like briefly tell you all about, okay,
Yes.
this is the SME digitalization grant. Okay, this initiative is actually provided by the Ministry of Finance Malaysia to help SME to adopt to digitalize their business operations. Okay, so the government will provide 50% matching grant of up to 5,000 per company. Okay, that means because KD123 is one of their TSP, we call it TSP, Technology Solution Provider. So we are here to provide digital marketing services to SME. So meaning to say, if you, let's say you sign up your online marketing package with us, so you are eligible to apply for this grant. And then you only need to pay the 50%, and then the remaining 50% will be paid by the government. Okay,
Great.
so of course there T&C applies. So then if any of you, interested to know more about this, please come and talk to us. We are happy to help. All right, thank you.
All right. Okay. So, all right. Thank you very much, speakers. So I'm just gonna, before I wrap things up, quickly just, I agree with what the comments section have been saying. This is really the time to work together, really cooperate, learn, and share with one another. So speaking of collaboration and sustainability, tomorrow evening, Friday, at 8:30 p.m. actually, our Chief Strategy Officer, Arjuna Raj, will be on the panel with Sigi College to talk about sustainability in the ECCE industry in Malaysia. So to find out more about that, you can actually go to Sigi College Subanjaya Facebook page. And we will also share the poster on LittleLives Malaysia Facebook page as well. All right. So, okay. When hosting a panel of discussion like this, it is imperative to gain the participation of experts like yourselves in this field. So thank you very much for taking the time to be part of the panel this morning. I'm sure that we can all agree that our collective efforts have yielded a very good outcome, and I'm confident that you will get some real traction with the audience. This was only possible with your commitment, your time, and your effort, which is so, we're so grateful for that. So thank you very much. To our listeners, thank you for joining us this morning. And on behalf of LittleLives, we hope that the early childhood industry comes out stronger, smarter, and healthier than ever. So to those, that's it. So actually, just a quick run. If you would like us to host more webinars, just type yes in the chat box so we can actually see the feedback we can get on the spot. And aside from that,
yes.
Correct. During registration to our participants, you may have selected yes to our consultation. So we will be in touch, no worries. And really, thank you very much for putting a good show this morning. I look forward to working out with the future. This video is recorded. It will be filmed on, it will be released on LittleLives Malaysia Facebook page. So everybody can go back and take a look at our 3 amazing speakers. You can share with your platforms as well. I will also get your emails so that at least if our participants want to reach out to you, it'll be easier for them. So then they get direct access. Right. So one last thing. We will take a group photo. It's pretty hard to take a group photo now with 124 people online. But I'm not sure you can't turn on your video, can you? Oh, you can. I see Dorcas. So if you can turn on your videos, please do so. We will take a group photo now. We'll try to squeeze how many we can. Oh, I see a lot of faces. Yes.
Now they show their faces.
Okay. Now we can see everyone.
Yes. My colleague Alwin is going to help me do this photo.
Smiling for 7 times.
Okay, be camera ready, everyone.
Yes. Oh, I see some familiar faces as well. All right, I think there's a few pages. So we'll take page 1 first. So let me see whether I can unmute Alwin to help us organize this. All right, Alwin, I ask you to you're unmuted now. All right, Alvin.
Brian, just have me do a countdown. On the count of 3, I will take the photo for the first page.
Okay, so this is first page. I'm not sure whether you're on page 1 or page 2, but all right.
Just smile.
Just smile. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, we're going to page 2 now.
Page 2 now. Oh, I see more faces. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, last page.
All right. Oh, there's more pages. I only see
last page.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate time taken. Hope everyone learned something. We'll see you soon. Stay safe, take care, and have a blessed day ahead. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, LittleLives. Thank you, Brian, Alvin.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Umi.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.